Hello. I trust you have been well. This tutorial or class follows one that covered image gallery. Now we are going to look at the responsive images. We are going to begin with a simple one. Then we shall look at what if it was a gallery and stuff like that. So we can just create an image here. Right now I'm not repeating all this because at this level I'm sure you know how to reach this stage. You could do it in many different ways, but we are going to look at, maybe let's say we can create just a class maybe.respo, then we put in an image here that could be these images. Okay, an image like that. We can open this one here for a live server, and here is my image. So that's how big my image is, but then I could as well quickly go to CSS and say .respo one. I think it was respo only as a class, then image, because we want to directly affect the image. Then we introduce in something we've already covered called max width and its effects, and then we set this to 100%. So in other words, we are simply trying to say that in case by using max width, we are saying that this page, or this rather the image, should never ever be greater than the containing element. That's what that means. That's why we use maximum width, that it can be below this width, it can never go beyond this width. That's what we are trying to introduce. Then we can just set the height to be automatic. Whatever height is, we shall be okay with it. Now when we reduce the size of our page, you can see as we reduce the size, the image also keeps on reducing. We've not fought to make it the height VH such that it keeps on covering everything but then reducing. I just trying to see. We could pick another one. For example, we could pick let's say image 9 or 8, and we have this as the image. So we do the same thing. You can see it reducing but not greater than itself. So if we had content here, we would be able to see it. If we worked on, you can see this would be how almost the size of your screen looks like. We could also so we are trying to use this max width to achieve the same thing. The rest is okay. Maybe we could just test this, that cover the whole height of this containing element you will be in. So if we do the same thing here, then we can reduce the width, reducing, but the height keeps on, assuming it was going to be used as a background image, so it would still be covering the whole image, or rather the whole web page. A height view, rather 100 VH for viewport height, and even if the width is reducing because of the size that we could be in, then that is what we are looking at. Now there is also an alternative to this. Let us look at what if it was not a background image. We could target this image alone with its width and choose if it was going, if we had set it to be a background, then we would say cover, then everything would still be okay. Now, but there is another responsiveness which is better. We had created in the previous tutorial, we had created this particular gallery, okay, with its effects. Now we are going to see how responsive this can be and what we can do to make it responsive. So this was our work here. If you have not yet known how to create something like this, please watch the previous tutorial called the image gallery. You should be able to find it in the same channel. Create this gallery. After creating it, then come back to this lecture because this would be the second one. So here we introduce in something else we call media. These are known as media queries. We shall have a topic of its own on media queries, because it's not that they only affect this, but they can affect more than what we actually use them for. We shall have a lecture of its own on media queries. So but for now we can simply say at media. You can see for this particular text editor we already have those, but it is the screen, and then we define the size, screen and max dash width, and then we say 700. So if it is at 700 pixels, if the screen size is 700 pixels, we can clear it like that. If the screen size is 700 pixels, the whole class of gallery, one that is containing every image we are having here, should go to a width of say 49.999%. What is creating, why are we doing this? It means if we say that the width should be 49.99, it's approximation of 50, but like I said, you need to use sometimes point numbers that are approximated to exactly what you wanted, but they are understood slightly differently than whole figures. So we are saying that if the screen is 700 pixels, make sure it is the images are 2 on that screen, because we said if they are 4 up here, then we use the gallery as 25. But now we are saying if the pixels, this is what matters. If the maximum width is 700, and realize we've also changed the image width to max width instead of using width. The class of these images is also changed to max width 100%. We just added max such that we don't have overlapping images in a container in case we were to apply a border. We shall see that if time allows. Now we are also saying here that in case the screen size is 500, then the gallery should now be 100%. We believe this is almost the smallest size, and if it is 100%, then we don't need the margin. Here we are saying the top right, rather top bottom margin, it should leave a space between the top margin and the lower margin of 6 pixels. Between them should be 6 pixels, or between the content below, or now they will be images because they are 4, so there should be a space between them of top left, top bottom 6 pixels, then left right is okay, can maintain it at 0. Then we say if the screen size becomes if the screen size is 500 pixels, right now the viewport size is 500 pixels, make sure you display one image at a time. Since it is one image at a time, they will just have their own spaces. So by default it has already refreshed itself because we are using live server once again. So I come to this now, I try to show you what we were meaning. At 700 it jumps to 2 images, and then we could be able to so we are saying that when I'm trying to find out where we could have created an error, we can choose increasing the spaces between here, and then we wait for the live server to refresh. Should be able to get exactly what we want. So we reduce the sizes of this viewport, assuming it was a phone or different sizes of the tab, and now we are looking at 700 pixels. You can see 700 pixels. There are now 2 images. Why? Because we set that at 700 pixels it should now create 2 images. At 500 pixels then it should be 1 image. So these would be your 500 pixels, and you can see our elements are still the same, the hovering. That would be image responsiveness. Then you could also right click here and say inspect to see how else it would look like. Here would be the normal outline, then this would be of responsive design mode, and you can see welcome to our gallery. At 500 it is now 1 image. So that makes it quite impressive, because now while using our phone, it means we are able to achieve the same thing we are looking for. So you can go ahead testing what you are doing by simply choosing whether it is a large screen like this, or what if it was then a phone of this size, how would it look like? You can see 320 by 400 rotating port view. So where you are saying that it is a portrait or landscape mode, because you usually do them on your phone. So that would be portrait, and then this would be your landscape. So that is what we are talking about when we look at image responsiveness. Thank you.